Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about somebody else for a change, actually. I'm going to talk about Gabriel J Warren. Now, he's the owner of Natural Whetstone Sharpening. He's got his own website and everything, and he's one of the first people around the place that does the ancient ocean jasper, jade, and jadeite natural whetstones. Now, the benefits of these is that they don't wear out. You can prep them to almost any kind of grit, and they can sharpen pretty much any steel. Actually, I'd extend that to say they can sharpen any steel. I've seen 3V and all that be sharpened with them, so I know for a fact that it works. Anywho, I've got one of his products, and this video, the reason this video has come about is because he's become big enough now that he's starting to cop a lot of flack from larger companies and their supporters. Now, opinions are fine. Everyone's got one. That's totally cool. But what not everybody has is the backing of science. Now, Gabriel's done his stuff. He's done his work. He's done his homework, and he's got the science behind him. Now, I want to put that up front. I want to make sure that that stays in the forefront of your mind, because a lot of people are talking a whole lot of crap when it comes to other products and stuff. And on the flip side, there's a lot of people that actually mean well, that are sort of trying to help other people out and stuff, saying, oh, you know, you can do this, you can do that. And that's totally fine. I support that 100%. I've chosen to buy one of Gabriel's stones. In fact, I've got it here. It's one of the first custom engraving jobs he'd ever done on a stone, and you'll see it's got a funny shape. And while we're talking about Gabriel and what's going on with him, I'm gonna keep my hands moving and just sharpen a couple of blades. I'll dunk this in the water here. So people have started coming onto Gabriel's page, and they're starting to, I guess it's called like what, a smear campaign? Something similar to that effect, I guess. So I'm throwing my, albeit small, hat in the ring to support Gabriel, because he's a good dude, and I intend on using his stones in my business, which I've just started, Sundog Forge. Anyway, so I've got an antique here. It's a kukri, it's a recurve. A lot of people hate sharpening recurves. I don't see the problem, it's fine. I'm going to use this surface here. So, what I can tell you for sure is that there is a learning curve involved with these stones. You need to know what you're doing. And I say that, I'm still learning. But you know what's awesome is that Gabriel doesn't just sell you a product and then leave you on your own, okay? What he does is you buy the product from him and he'll support you through that process. And then if you have questions, which I did, I had a lot of questions, and I was struggling with the learning curve of using these stones, I messaged him directly. I watched his videos, which I highly recommend you do if you ever get one of these. And, oh, there you go. That's not bad. And he was very forthcoming with his information. That's a good sign. If they're very forthcoming with their information, it means they're honest. And it means that their opinion isn't just an opinion, it's usually backed by something. And, you know, they might be a zealot, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. 80CRV2, 1035, 80CRV2, different steels. So, where was I? Gabriel supports these guys even after they've put the money up, if you know what I mean. So he's constantly creating, and this is one of the things I admire about the man, is he's constantly creating content to help people with sharpening. It doesn't even have to be using his own stones. I mean, of course he's going to use his stones and his products in his videos, but not all of them. Like, a lot of the knowledge that he passes on is transferable to a lot of other things. And as I said, he looks after his guys. So you got to ask yourself a question on who do you trust? What do you trust? What works? And of course, most importantly, what works? So for a long time, I was using things like ceramic sharpeners. I still do. Stropping, still do that too. But then I'd use things like diamond sharpeners and stuff like that. And granted, they work, but they also wear out. I've got one of those brass Lansky, what do you call it, sharpeners, the little sort of round diamond files that invert and go back into the brass and screw in. And all the diamonds come out of it. And I paid a lot of money for that. Anywho, this doesn't do that, obviously, because it's a single stone. Yeah, that'll need a little bit of strop on leather, but otherwise it's good to go. And when I first started using this, I noticed straight away that obviously it's not going to fall apart. It's not going to break. I've dropped this several times. Concrete, tiles, rocks. I'm a bit clumsy that way sometimes. I've dropped it plenty of times. I did take a chunk out of it once when I dropped it on the tiles, but I'm thinking that there was repeated strikes on the same part, and that's why. But it hasn't reduced the efficiency of the stone at all. Standard straight blade A2. So I watched a few of Gabriel's videos and I monitored some of the questions that people were asking him, and when he answered them, I took what he said and I gave it a crack. The dude has a lot more experience than I do with this sort of thing, so I listened. And you know what? Now that I have gone through that learning curve and I've learned how to do it, this thing rocks. It's amazing. I can prep it to whatever grit I want. If I want it to be super aggressive, I can make it super aggressive. And in fact, contrary to, I guess, what most people would think, if you make the stone super aggressive, it can actually be better. What do I mean by that? This knife, when it come to me, was sharp. And then I beat the crap out of it and it was dull. It was really, 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 really dull. I had this stone and I was trying to learn how to use it, so I chose this knife because I was like, well, it's already dull. Anyway. And it wasn't doing a whole lot. You know, I wasn't getting this hair-popping edge everyone was going on about. So I watched a couple of Gabriel's videos and I realised what I was doing wrong. Is I was using it as it came to me instead of resurfacing it. So I got some really coarse sandpaper on a really flat stone or surface and I prepped it. It takes material off really, really, really quickly initially, but as the pores of the stone fill up, it gets finer and finer and finer. Now the reason this is good is because if you're outfield and you've munted your knife and that's prepped to be super aggressive, it doesn't take much work before those pores fill up, taking off a lot of material, granted. And then all of a sudden, you're no longer sharpening because the blade's already sharp by the time you hit this point. It's polishing. The grit goes up. As the blade gets finer, the stone gets finer. I don't know, I thought that was really cool. Kind of common sense, but still. It was really, really cool, and I found that when you're actually doing this for real, out in the field, yeah, it definitely pays to prep one of the surfaces of your stone as coarse as you can for that sort of eventuation. And then you prep another one to be a bit finer, so that it's only polishing and maintenance. Alright, so talking to Gabriel, talking to the guys on his group, reading the everyone else's questions and comments, and reading the answers as well. That's all it's really taken to get me to this point where I munted this axe as well. I actually took a chip out of it when I was hitting some hardwoods when I first got it, just to see what it could take. And as you can see, there's no flat bits or anything on that edge. Stone brought it back, no worries. So, if someone tells you that these natural whetstones are no good, I would be asking them what they use. Because one of the cool things that I've come across when I've had people argue with me about this particular stone that I've got in my hand right now, they go, oh yeah, what do you use? And they go, oh, Japanese waterstones. Oh, is that right? Okay. And I grabbed this, and I grabbed his waterstone, and we prepped them to the same grit, and guess what? They did the same job. This cost less than the whetstone he was using, the waterstone he was using. And the best part is I also had the coarse side, so I was able to do multiple things with this that he couldn't even do with his fancy waterstones. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that follow the science. That's the biggest takeaway of this message. Follow the science. Form your own opinion, and hopefully, which is the most important thing, is form your own opinion based on your own experience as well, rather than the experience of others. I've based my opinion off this. I don't know if it's better quality, worse quality, whatever, of what he normally does. I can tell you right now it works well, though, and I guess that's the most important thing, isn't it? Oh yeah. And the evidence shows. Alright. If you can, get one and see for yourself. He's got a new product that he's recently released. They're a relatively small stone, which means they're relatively cheap. Grab one, try it out. You'll see for yourself in absolutely no time at all once you've got through that learning curve, which is always gonna be there. They do their job, they do it well, and for what you're getting, for what you're paying, they're more versatile, which is important. They're more versatile than a standard Japanese waterstone, because you've got to buy a set of them. This does all of that, as long as you have a good surface to prep on. And they're more portable, and if you get a funny shape like I did, a lot of the time, they're also more versatile with different blade shapes. So you've seen me do a recurve, a great belly on the machete. You've seen me do a known quantity, which is the Bark River in the A2. And you've seen me do an axe, okay? It sharpens all of those things, no problem. There is one other feature that I forgot to mention before, and that is the shoulders on this bad boy. Alright, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when Gabriel put these shoulders on, he put a little ridge on the shoulder there. And that's fantastic, because what you do is you use that similar to like a honing steel to take the burr off the edge of your knife after you've sharpened one side or the other prior to stropping. Anywho, this is me weighing in on Gabriel's behalf. The dude's legitimate. He follows the science, he looks after his customers, and if your product that you get from him fails for whatever reason, he's more than willing to replace it. I can't say the same thing for a lot of the other guys out there, okay? So, thank you for listening. Definitely hit me up if you have any questions, or hit Gabriel up if you have any questions. Check out his website while he's got those small stones on special. Give him a crack. Thank you very much.